call our EDC meeting to order. And the first bit of business we do is an invocation. I ask Mr. Lance Blackwell if he would lead us in the invocation. Mr. Lowry, would you lead us in our pledges when we come to that?
Absolutely. Sorry, yes. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you for your glory. We thank you for your hand and your blessings upon the city of Cleveland. We thank you that tonight, here with our EDC meeting, Lord, that your presence will be here, that we will sense the spirit of wisdom to give us wise choices. Father, we come to you asking you for financial blessings beyond what we could ever imagine. And we know that this day and this hour that you shall bless this meeting tonight. And we thank you that we shall have your favor. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Let us face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Face the Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that. First item on our agenda is item number 2, update from Tough Kids project.
Good evening, everyone. It looks like there's one next person. Just make sure you speak in the microphone. First, I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity again. Just want to update you on where we are, what has been happening. It's been an exciting time. But actually, before I do that, I kind of want to let you all know this. The EDC is very aware of my time at Prairie View with the different classes that have been going on, from welding, core construction. We just finished up the CNA class. So there's a total of 13 students that finished up the CNA certification. They're now taking their state exams. So I'm so excited. So at the completion of the course, all of them had already been offered jobs. So I am so excited. So they either were offered jobs or offered promotions if they were already in the industry. So I'm very excited about that. As my time is coming to an end, I'm like, hey, I need some wins here. So I'm excited for our residents because they put in a lot of time and energy into learning the information. And hopefully we have some quality employees who are able to take care of our seniors, because we need that. But that's that. So to the community center, if you will go to the next slide. We got to pick a name, right? So that came with the sponsorship that you all paid for. So over this next 6 months, you all can decide on what you're going to name it. So I've set a target for 2022. And initially, I was thinking I want this open for December, but I underestimated what it took to work 2 full jobs and take care of the boys. I'm like, I just didn't have the time. So the plans themselves for the floor plans have not changed. I do have something different to show you with the stairs, but this layout is still the same. We haven't changed anything there. This page. That's all this is. So what has changed as far as fundraising? Though I've been busy, we still have a lot of work to do. So you see the numbers here for our individual sponsorships. I had set a goal for $60,000. Right now we're at $48,500. So I am so excited about that. So of course the number one sponsorships, you all took that as EDC. The second was a general room for the $15,000. Martin Chevrolet generously took that one. And then Rotary, I'm a proud Rotarian, but also because we were able to partner to get the Rotary one done. So I'm really excited. We'll kind of go into that in a little bit. So I still have a slot available for a second framing for the audio visual room. So I'm hoping maybe I can get someone like, what used to be Fries, or someone who does technology and that they can come in and set it all up, because I know nothing about that, about that, but I'm hoping I can get someone, a company like that, to come in and actually sponsor that. For the electrical, so far I've gotten one company to come through with that $5,000 sponsorship at 67, and that was actually a group of several Walmarts. So I want to say our local Walmart gave us $2,500. The one in Dayton gave us $2,500. The one in New Canaan was $1,000, and then I want to say Porter gave the other $7,500. So that's where the 10,000 in electrical came from. That's the grouping of the different Walmarts. And then the plumbing, one of those has been taken by Austin Bank. So as you can see, so the lower sponsorships, we've got to do some work. I know that it was the end of a lot of companies' fiscal year. So I'm like, okay, we've got to get on this at the beginning all over again. So my hope is that by the end of the month, I can at least have it all drafted and ready to go for the new year. So that hopefully we can gain some of those sponsorships and volunteers. Because a lot of people think, oh, I can write a check. But I'm like, but if you have labor, or you have skills that we can utilize, that would be awesome as well. Just because it's been a challenge trying to get people to say, yeah, Isha, I know some carpentry, or yeah, I know some plumbing, and let me come and do that. But so far, we've had several in-kind donations. Mr. Turl has donated the roofing. Forgive me, I cannot remember the name of the company, but they have volunteered and donated all of the window treatments.
It's called an Eternit, it's a man-made slate.
Yes, so that's what he's donated. So all the window treatments have already been donated. Then I got a call today because of the land we purchased the land next to the building that was given to us. And so I'm like, we need a survey. And so I'm surveying calls today. It's like, you're not paying us for that. We'll do that in kind. So we're really excited about that. So they're hoping to be out next week to get it all surveyed for us. Because in the process, one of the first things we have gotten done was actually having it raised and leveled. So with that, I knew nothing about leveling a building, but it is a task in itself. Now that it's completed, we're actually able to see the difference in the land, right? Because the front, well, the building was initially so low to the ground, you just didn't really pay attention to the slope of the ground. So in the front, the initial thought was, okay, we'll raise it by 1 block, which was the 8 inches. But by the time they got it all level, the back of the building ended up with 4 blocks. So visually, it looks like it's really high in the back, but we went out there and put a 4-foot level and it's completely level. But just because of the slope of the land, it looks weird. So we're gonna have to have a lot of dirt brought in to level it out, but we'll get there.
The column you have here, total and actual. The actual column, that's the monies that you're receiving?
Yes, that is what's been brought in.
And the total is?
That was what was projected. So like if you follow the column for sponsorship level, the first one was initially, we were asking for $25,000. It was one sponsorship, but in actuality, you all sponsored $20,000.
Okay.
But that's what was initially asked, in that total column. So as you can see, if you follow that all the way down, the initial goal was $110,000. We're at $58,250. So I figure for 6 months, we haven't done pretty bad. But there is some more work to do. During this process, one of the things that understanding that the cost of everything is just going up tremendously. So even though I initially thought, okay, what is it going to cost us to do this? They're saying these numbers are going up. So I did overestimate, but I'm hoping that just reduces the amount of fundraising we got to do, hopefully. So if we go to the next screen, and it just kind of follows along. Go back. So my initial goal was the fundraising was $55,000. We haven't even had a chance to do any of those things. I wanted to do some golf tournaments and some of those big fundraising events, and it just haven't had the time to do that. But that's where those numbers came from. And then I set an individual goal, because I'm like, we have people who are willing to chip in, whether it be $5, $10, $50. And I thought back to when Obama was actually running from office, and one of his huge things was the average person gave $5 or something. I was like, can that really be true? So I actually looked it up. And he raised, I want to say it was like 30-some million dollars, but the average donor was $259 in reality. And so I said, well, how many people can I get to give me $250? So I said, well, let's do 60. And so right now, I think I need a total of 19 people that I'm looking for that for. But we are at $9,220 from individual sponsors, and the in-kind donation, that is the roofing from Mr. Turtle, the window treatment, and the surveying. That's what that is. Next slide. So this is just some of the pictures when the sponsors gave. This one over here to the left would be the headscarf. Is new. That actually came from, it's a combination of Rotary. So through the Rotary District Grant, we was able to, I applied for that to cover the cost of the actual AC unit itself, which was $6,000. I had no clue what they charged to install it all. But that's where that $6,000 came from. And the second part of that was a Rotary/Save the Children grant. And I actually I brought this because the statistics were so alarming. I was like, oh my God, how can I help our community? So I essentially got an email from our president and said, Isha, can tough kids utilize this? And I said, well, we don't really kind of focus on small children, but how can we help the community? So here were some of the statistics. It said, young children who do not have access to high quality preschool and early education are 25% more likely to drop out of school, 40% more likely to become teen parents, 60% more likely to never go to college, and 70% more likely to be arrested for a violent crime. And I know that we do an awesome job as far as having preschool and those different things. And I was like, well, how can we actually help in this situation? So I went to the library and I saw Wendy got Employee of the Year. And I talked to her and Miss Mary and I said, well, what can we do? I know that Rotary sponsored the bags for 1,000 books before kindergarten program a year or two ago. How can we kind of publicize that? So with the Save the Children grant, what it would allow us to do is I've allocated $6,500 to buy books to actually put in the building. And the rest of it is actually to do books and literacy. So every month we'll do a program at the library. So the first will be in January the 8th, I believe. So it'll be breakfast and books, and then the following month, and then the alternate will be lunch and literacy. So we'll go there, invite the parents, they'll read a book, and then we'll have, breakfast or lunch. And so the additional resources available to the parents. But the whole point of this is to be encouraging them to read to their children every night. I was so shocked to find out, I attended one of the programs that Wendy had, that, oh my God. That some of the parents said that they did not read to their children because they didn't know how to. Not that they couldn't read, because they couldn't be animated as she is and so many different things. And I was like, but your children don't need that. They just need the comfort of your voice reading to them. And so I just found that this would be a very powerful tool. It didn't cost us anything but some time, and get out there and publicize it that, hey, our library has these resources. We'll provide the breakfast or the lunch. We'll bring your kids out, start reading to them every day. And then when they complete the books in the program, they can actually just scan the barcode and it logs into it creates their log for them. And so the only thing we'll ask in that regard is that they share that list with us monthly so that we know that they're reading. So that's it about that program, but that's where that grant actually came from. So the next slide is actually the remodeling stages. As I just said, we've already raised and leveled the building. Then we have some framing work that we need to address. Some of the wood is rotten, so we need to replace a few of the studs and different things. And then after that, we'll be replacing the roof, cabling. So I'm excited. I had never even thought about cabling. I thought you just called AT&T and they brought you internet. But come to find out, you actually have to have cabling there. So did it remind me? I didn't include those numbers. So that has been donated, the services for that. So we're really excited about that. And then of course, plumbing and so on. Next slide. Because we only have 2,000 square feet in this building, like you want to do a whole lot. So I'm like, so where will we actually keep this little library that we're proposing? So what we're gonna do is put it in the staircase like this. I think it's beautiful, as well as it's easily accessible to the kids. If they came in on the first floor, they're just right there. So that is the plan for that. So for that grant, we're also partnering on Save the Children, Rotary, Tough Kids, and Amber Life Extension Office, Family Community Health, Family Community Science agent over there, Alexis Cordova. She's going to be assisting me and Wendy with this program as well. So we're excited to bring them on, and of course the library. So it is completely a joint effort, and I'm just believing that it's going to be successful. So my goal is actually just to kind of track the parents over the 1 year. I'm currently looking for another grant that if they finish it, that we can give them the money to start applying 29 college funds. Haven't gotten there yet, but that's my goal for that. So that's it. Do you all have any questions?
No question, I'm just excited. I'm so excited. I'm so glad we contributed to this. I'm just excited. Thank you all so much. And I was thinking about, you were talking about the library and what you all are going to do with the kids. But I was thinking about the youth advisory committee, and we did a resolution for this years ago. And I was trying to think of how this would benefit with the youth and with the program that Wendy has. You know, and there might be something that, maybe some funds or something that can contribute to your organization. I don't know, but they have a summit that's coming up in February, and there are kids from all over Texas in this summit. So I don't know if possibly you all can take part of it. So it'd be so beneficial. You know, who knows? There's might be some funding there to help you even help with the renovation. You know, and with the education of the kids. Not just the tough kids, but for the program that Wendy has as well. So that might be something that we might want to look into.
Michelle? I have a question. Your rendering shows it having a flat roof. Is that just the rendering?
That's just a rendering.
So you are going to do a slope roof?
Yes, yes. One of our volunteers, so the gentleman, this Jeff Perry, who's actually going to do the cabling, his daughters are into gaming. And in this gaming software, they have to build buildings. So they're the ones who did the dollhouse view of the building. It was their first time doing this. I'm like, I'm gonna use this. Just because I thought that was a very nifty thing to do, just from learning how to, they're sitting there playing video games, and now they've actually gained a skill that if they continue with, they can actually, you know, the job skill. So that's where that actually came from. But I believe, don't quote me on that, but it is a,
Yeah, I gave them. Because in this part of the country, you know, that.
right.
We donated this money in the year 2021. We started our new year, so maybe we can come back and we can donate some more. EDC can.
That would be
It
awesome.
would be up to the board.
Yeah.
So you were looking for 25, we did 20.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I do have, excuse me, I do have another one. So the areas that you're needing is the electrical, plumbing, drywalls, and the fixtures?
So those are not actually what is needed. When I was looking at how to structure a fundraising campaign, one of the things that it said was that whatever you're fundraising for, instead of doing a traditional gold, silver, and platinum, actually gear it toward what it is that you're actually doing. So that's just the name of the sponsorship levels. But yes, those things have to still be done. So we went in because a lot of sheetrock was dry rotted. So we went in and pulled out all the sheetrock in the building, which actually ended up being a blessing because it exposed all of the frame of the building. So we know what actually needs to be done. The sheetrock can cover up a whole lot of stuff. And then you're like, well, hey, why did that happen? But one of the things that we were able to see initially is that the top floor is not properly supported. So that is being done, not this upcoming week, but the following week. To make sure that, when we put the roof on, or we have kids, you have a live load versus, the dead load, or whatever it's called, just the structure itself. So we want to make sure if they're up there partying or dancing, or if it's 15 of them in the classroom with computers or servers or whatever, that it's all going to support the weight of that. So, but that's where.
Anything else?
Keisha, I'd just like to say thank you for all you do for the community and the kids. It's wonderful to see what you have done.
James,
for years.
we can't hear you. Would you
I
please
see
come up
that,
here?
that's it, I'm sorry.
Come up here, please.
No. Sure. Keisha, I said it was, thank you for all that you have done for the kids and the community. And I just wanted to applaud you for all your good work and hard work that you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Jones, I'd like to thank you as well. I mean, you're doing good. I mean, you budgeted $110,000 and you already bid half of it, so congratulations. Thanks for working.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I think recognize your partner.
Oh. And this is Ivan Williams.
Good to see you again.
Sorry for my toy.
You're okay.
Next item on the agenda is 3 public comments. Any person that might have signed up, you have 3 minutes to speak. Has anyone signed up?
No, sir, I've not received any public comment requests.
Okay, then we're going to move on to item 4, reports and comments from board members and staff. We'll start at the left end. Aaron?
Well, we had, EDC, gosh, it's been so long, EDC conference. There was a wealth of information, which a lot of it I have written down somewhere. But some of the things that I do remember is they mentioned having workshops, basically quarterly or monthly or however, so that way you can be sort of on the same page of some of the things that you're anticipating or projecting to do in your city. That was one of the things, and they talked about some of the businesses that were looking to build, and 2 businesses I remember. It was Costco and Target. And they also talked about the marketplace as far as shopping, as far as stores that are going to basically not going to be walking in. A lot of people are going to be shopping online. So we see a lot of that now. So there's a lot of things they discussed, and we can see those changes now because of the pandemic. So that was some of the things that I remember.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you, but one of the things I was going to do is ask each board member that attended, to give one thing that they learned while they were there, something they didn't know, how they found out at the convention and now they know. And you mentioned one about, you mentioned several of them, but what is something you didn't know and then when you got there you found out it was better than EDC?
That I didn't know?
Or just any comment that you'd like to bring back that you heard, would like to share with the department?
Well, it's not that I didn't know, but we're not doing as far as meeting quarterly or monthly. Something we need to do. And a lot of it is common sense. So
In fact, you're right. One of the sponsor leaders did ask the question, how many people actually meet on a scheduled basis with EDC and council? We were asking them, that's what you're talking about.
I'm not understanding the question.
I'm basically repeating what you're saying is one of the leading sponsors made a comment. He asked the whole group at the convention, how many of you have regular meetings with your council and the mayor to discuss what's going on in your city? You don't remember that? Okay. Would you like to add anything else? Carolyn?
I don't know that I remember anything that.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I know, and I'm not taking it like that for sure, but I just don't know that I remember anything specific that stood out in my mind that I didn't know.
Okay, thank you. Michelle?
I enjoyed watching how the town, they had their EDC board, how they made so many changes just on the square block. How they did it together in meetings, and the town ran together and how we did the facing and they improved their little community.
I remember one session was a city manager and assistant city manager that actually converted a rural town, didn't have an interstate going through it, but they took a rural town and really made it update. For years, they hadn't had that kind of change. Do you remember the name of that town? It was Fate.
Was it Fate?
Mhm.
Outside town?
And those two gentlemen they were one of the speakers.
They were pretty amazing.
Yes, they
To get to see the commitment they put into it now as they live. They have apartments even in town, on top of some of the buildings. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
I think one of the things that impressed me when they were speaking was the fact that, like any town, you got people who own land, and they just don't see going forward. They don't see the progress. So they started small and showed what they could do. And then they were that enabled them to go to the people that own these blocks. In fact, they bought a whole block downtown. And normally these people weren't willing to sell, but then they convinced them. You can see the progress that they've made already, and so they did that. That was very impressive. Anybody got anything else on that?
You know, I did learn a lot about like the 313, the 380s and all that, what the House bill numbers are. That I didn't know. And I took a lot of notes into that, but I want to comment on Faith, Texas, and the lady that spoke during our lunch time. I mean, her name was Melody Warney, and she talked about unity, working together, and that in Faith, Texas, I'm going to use them. You know, they adopted a program, and they stuck to it, and then they worked together. I mean, unity is a big key in a lot of things. You can't have a break in things, you're going to move things forward. And us all meeting together with our chambers or schools or city, I mean, it takes unity, it takes a lot. But, and I feel we're headed in the right direction.
Last time we had a meeting with the council in the school.
We have not had one with the school. I think we hadn't had one with the school, but also too, you want to talk about the council. And right now, we've had some changes within the school and the chamber, but this upcoming year is the time to start doing that because we've had some changes. So, change of guard, per se. So, I think this upcoming year is time to start putting the program really and putting them in play.
That is why specifically I said that we need to start eating quarterly, 1 month.
Correct.
I agree. One of the other things, and believe it or not, it came from Retail Coach. He was talking, and I've heard him 3 times. And every time he's talking about how retail is changing. You're not getting the big department stores, Macy's, and those like that anymore. They're going back and cutting their stores in half, back half, or make it in a storage area for your ordering online, those sorts of things. And it really is changing. You stop and think, how many, he had some numbers, I can't remember exactly how much people, especially like Christmas shopping, do it online. And so that takes your big boxes and your retails away. So that part is changing, so we just have to adapt to it. But I know that was brought up. Anybody else got anything to bring up on the commission?
He also mentioned that a lot of it was not more so based on demographic. It was mostly, but not mostly, they're focusing a lot on psychographic, which basically is what is being shopped for in your area. Or what are the people looking for? What are they shopping for? Specifically, for an example, if there's hunting or golfing or whatever specifically that they're hunting, what they're shopping for. So the numbers are important, but yeah, still it's what the consumers are shopping for.
Well, I think the main thing is it's changing. Whether we agree with it or not, it is actually changing. And I think if you stop to think, how many of you have ordered something online in the last 2 weeks? Okay, we'll move on from that. Going into agenda item number 5, summary of monthly business prospect reports, EDC project updates. EDC Director Robert Reynolds.
You'll have y'all's report there. The first sheet is some of the things I've been doing, just kind of give y'all an update. I called them, Firehouse Sub. They put out they're gonna build a lot more locations. I contacted them and talked with them about that, about Cleveland, and they said Cleveland didn't fit their demographics. They wasn't looking at Cleveland this time. But that doesn't stop you from pursuing people. You keep on. Cadence Environmental, this is an industrial company that I spent 3/4 of a day with. They're needing 20 acres, but they need it on BNSF rail. I've talked to BNSF, also some other landowners around. We looked at several locations. Whitewater Car Wash, I believe y'all all know about that one. They bought the budget in, and they're gonna be demoing that for long. They're gonna build a new tunnel car wash there. B Plastics, we talked about, yes, sir?
I'll pick right over where that particular unit is. This is
Across from HEB, the one in front of HEB and the corner of 105 in Washington. So, B Plastics, that's a recycling company. I've been meeting with them a lot lately. They bought 20 acres on County Road 388. They do have some machinery that has been shipped in. I've helped them start working with the county on getting permits, also on getting their power. When they get started, they're going to employ 20 people to begin with, and they're going to be recycling plastics. Quick Trip, I think we all see that project still moving forward. Their plans of being open in March. I went to Livingston, spoke with Justin Belcher again about Chick-fil-A in Cleveland. He said, still not this time, they don't have any new updates. And he said, again, it will take a while before just getting this store going. There is a piece of property on the feeder road of 59 by Waterburger, owned by Zachary Newmanrum. It's a commercial piece of property. Been working with him trying to find somebody to fit on that location. And actually, he has somebody looking at that. At this time, they have not signed a contract. And whenever they sign the contract, I can say then I'll be at liberty to talk about that one. But that might be something good that's going to go there. I think we'd all be excited. Bob Brown with Kentucky Fried Chicken. We did a Zoom with them. They're looking at Cleveland. They have not found a location just as yet. Southern Tractor, they have a location in Porter, and they would like to move in Cleveland. They were in Cleveland going back a few years back, and, the lady that owns them would like to be back here, but she wants 1 acre, but she wants to be inside the city, right in the middle of either on Houston or Washington, and find 1 acre. I've showed her several locations too. Any comment on these?
Is the Southern Tractor, is that Kubota? Was that the Kubota?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. They used to be on 59 south out by the old auction barn when you cross the river on the right. One time, I believe they sold John Deere tractors and stuff like that. But the Kubota place, that's the one there at Fostoria and 59 south. So she owns several of these, and she also is in Willis right now. She's putting in an Ace Hardware. I told her it'd be nice to have an Ace Hardware in Cleveland. I know we had someone talk to Ace at one time, and I did too myself. And then she put in Ace. Anyway, be nice. Any more questions?
Mr. Reynolds, you've spoken to many people here that you've talked to.
Yes, sir.
And basically, it's a response to the same. We're looking, but not at this time.
Yes, sir.
What is the number one reason they give you why they're not ready to come to Cleveland? I know in the real estate business, you don't go out in 1 year and buy a piece of property. I mean, it takes time to find it, do your numbers and count it. But then, what is basically, is the land too high? Is it the?
Find the land, Mr. Terrell, location. I mean, a lot of these is finding.
We got locations. You showed them many locations,
Right.
from
The
1 acre
location,
to 20 acres.
The what?
What is their reason for saying?
Well, the location, okay, the land for like, 20 acres. Finding 20 acres that has.
Well, they're requiring a rail. Well,
Right.
that separates it from the rest of these, but.
Linda with Southern Tractor, she have not seen a piece that she really likes as of yet. I mean, she wants 1 acre right in the middle of town. So, she has had, and this is happening throughout, not only there, but everywhere. We watch it on the news. People got where they're pretty brave about stealing. They just come right in while you're open for business. They walk in, and they're taking things, and they're walking out. That's why she wants to be right in the heart of town.
The traffic, the location is the traffic flow.
Correct.
People that are passing through, passing by.
Now, we have several tracks in the middle of town here, but they're 10 acres, 8 acres, 12 acres. Some of them is interested maybe in cutting a piece out, maybe they have not, because I've talked to them, but they're really wanting to sell off one piece to a developer and bring in certain things.
Easy to get to,
Yes, ma'am.
all that.
Anybody else have a question? We'll go to the next page.
This is just an ongoing status report, and I'm gonna go just like Crisscross. They're a big developer. They developed all that again. I'm gonna say around the New Caney Walmart, and they just bought the old New Caney School, the elementary there beside Walmart. They're gonna develop all that over there. They are looking, and they are steadily looking at Cleveland. They are trying to buy here. They've made offers on properties and have not found anybody that's willing to sell their piece at the right pricing for them yet. For them to build here, they want to be around Walmart. But you just like the budget in. They're going to have to buy properties that are standing now and come in and demo them to build, to be around the Walmart.
It really goes back to my question. The reason they don't is money.
The money.
Now, that land's not gonna get any cheaper. So they either got to realize they're gonna pay more later, or else somewhere else, but, and I realize if you've done your numbers, and you gotta make a profit at the end of the year, you can only pay so much for your land, so much for your building. But that's what I want to hear, is what are they using as a reason?
They have talked to the, what is it, the motel by Walmart, is that, Motel 8? They've offered to buy their place. They, offered to buy the strip center where, T-Mobile just went in. They offered to buy that place. They offered to buy the Chinese restaurant. They offered to buy from Martin Chevrolet. And I've talked to
Which one are you talking about now?
the same one we're talking about, the first one. The one we were talking about.
Crisscross?
Yeah, you were asking that question.
Yeah.
But that one, I've talked to Mr. Martin, I've talked to the Chinese people that own that restaurant. I've talked to them with them as well, and they're not willing to sell. So, and that's what's holding them up, it is finding locations. They found locations. And they were talking about pricing, because they haven't got to their own pricing yet. Any more on that one?
What about the piece of land between the old Chrysler dealership on Washington Street? You go down there, it's gonna be a private school. There's about an acre, 2-3 acres land right there.
Right there, you're talking about Steve Hanson's property.
Maybe.
Yes, sir, that whole block.
Yeah.
I have met with Steve Hanson several times. I've talked to his cousin, she lives in Dallas, several times. They don't want to cut any of that out. Where the old filling station was, with Hancock Station, there's some tanks in there that their TCEQ are monitored, and that is under a environmental control right now until TCEQ releases that spot, and they don't know how many more years it'll be. She don't want to do anything with another property till she gets it all released. Yeah, she said because I've tried to talk to her about it, cutting pieces out of Mr. Hanson too. Until that corner, and that's a prime piece out front. But until that whole block, she don't want to do anything with any of it until that happens. And she can't give me a date, because she doesn't know.
Well, there's other ways to get around TDQ. That is, you can take the soil out and move it.
Well, there must be some other things there, because this thing's been under TCEQ for several years, and they got them locked up.
If you drive 105 into Cleveland, you get to the loop there, just in the northwest corner of that. There's a service station sitting there, it's sitting there for probably about 15 years. It's now been developed. So I don't know what somebody did, that either cleaned it up, you can take the soil, you can burn it, you can move it, there's ways to do it, but it's very expensive. So I don't know what happened there.
Right.
Another service station went back in there too. Way with the report.
And I want to comment about Tyler's Car Wash, because they looked at Cleveland a lot. Now that Whitewater Car Wash coming in, Brandon Berry says they will not be coming. They put the one right in front of Walmart there in UK. He looked around a lot, and he made offers on some of those properties. He even tried to buy the Chinese restaurant. But anyway, so that'll be coming off, because he's not coming, which it would be a need to have another one that's that size here. Franklin, and that's about the school and the commercial property. There's still some things going on there. That's just, because we talked about helping with that project on that new road. So I think right now we're still waiting on some papers from them, from Franklin and Phillipswood, before we move forward on that. And I commented while ago on Quick Trip. BNSF had several meetings with them. They are steadily moving forward. They've got a lot of land cleared, and they are working heavy on. So we'll probably start seeing some construction out there at the beginning of this year. And William Taminga with Burger Works, I've contacted him a couple times. He has not given me any updates other than the last time he gave me on what kind of building he wanted to build. So, I don't have anything for him.
Back up to BNSF. We sent the blue group there. They kept wanting acreage, they wanted the spur, rail spur. And we sent, have you heard any feedback on whether they made any deals?
They did not. They did not. They did not.
They met with them and they did decided not to go there.
Blue Group said they didn't want to be in there, they wanted to own their own property.
Okay. Burger Works, EDC contributed to their utilities
Yes,
on that.
Yes.
And it was on the basis that they would build this other building.
correct.
And I would like to see our city manager, Bobby, see if there's a way that we can do a little bit more investigating, push those people. Because right now, what they've done is taken our assistants, you got the Whataburger open, and go ahead and tell about the Whataburger open.
About
Where it was in sales and where it is now.
Oh, okay. Well, they tore down, well, first they built a new Whataburger. Well, they tore the other one down, and he owns 9 Whataburgers within his organization. Cleveland was doing number 4 in sales throughout all of them. Cleveland has moved to number 1 in sales. It has went from, well, anyway, whatever, I'm just trying to think what the employees were, but he's moved to 100 employees, and he's looking at needing another 20, he figures, so he's gonna have, but anyway, they got 100 employees there. They gained a 35% profit above what they were doing, so they're doing great.
Any other questions for all these 2 things, 2 pages? Okay, normally we in our EDC, we'll have a copy of the permit, the lady that does our permits. That's not in the report, it's in there.
I did not know, okay, I didn't get it.
Well, once they do a permit, it's really, but it's good to know when people are coming in and what to, they came in for a demolition permit, that tells us a lot. Why you come in for a building permit, same thing. We've got Grand Oaks, we've been talking about a golf course for 4 years. Last I heard, they were working on the clubhouse.
They are.
That's usually the permit with updates for that. Okay. Okay, moving on to item number 6, approve this consent agenda. Approve minutes from the October 25th, 2021 business meeting. Agenda item 7, approve monthly financial statement. Number 8, approve monthly bill payments for November 8th to December. I have questions on all 3 of those. Good. Anybody else have any issues on those 3 items?
No.
Okay, no mine on the minutes, 2025. Comment was made by me about the drone for Allies Day. I asked if the city would pay for half of that cost. The reply was that it may be considered. Is there any further update on what the city would do with help EDC on paying this? Wait, where's the city manager? See?
No, sir, he had a prior engagement with a family member, so he was not able to make it tonight.
That was the only thing I have up to minutes. The monthly financial statement. I really just have a question about the budget, anything. And that was, last year we had 15,000 to the demolition of some of the houses that need to be torn down in our city. One of them was Dr. Rick Kelly there. And that gentleman would build out a state, and he asked if we would do it, that he'd pay us out the payments. And I understand he has done that. And then the other one was next to the legal, what's the last name?
South Point Barnett?
Yes, right. That has not been done. So in a sense, the money we had in our budget for last year, part of it's been paid back and the other hasn't been used. So where does that budget money last year come forward to this year?
Carryover? We can do a carryover.
Okay, my question is where is it today? Is it in our,
We budgeted, this year we budgeted 18,000, and then last year we had,
it's less than 18, but it was around that.
yes, but we can carry over if you want, we can do a carryover of the budget. The remaining amount that we didn't use can be carried over to this year, so it would be the 18,000 plus whatever you want to carry over.
Just, I guess I have trouble understanding, if you have money in a budget, you agree to pay into it, and it's reimbursed, then the next year you try to go forward with another point. Where's that money that we had in our budget, where's it at?
It's going into the revenue line item.
So our revenue from last year comes forward and our revenue should be bigger.
Yeah, but we have to record it as revenue. When we get the money, we have to record it as a revenue. And when we expense it out, we have to record it as an expense. It's separate.
But the way I understand it, Greg, we're still gonna tear down that house on William L. Barnett. It's just being held up with some legalities or something right now, I think, but we're still gonna tear it down. Is that not correct?
Well, let me ask you a question, are we gonna do it with the budget that was last year? That, we're gonna do it this year, the budget of 18,000. What budget we're gonna use to do it?
Well, we still have, the money's still there.
We budgeted 18,000 for,
This year,
yes.
right?
You'll just put that over into next year's budget, and we can use that money at that time.
You didn't use it, it's still sitting there.
It's still sitting there.
So in my way, I'm understanding, my thinking is that should give us more money than what we just budgeted this year. We budgeted 18,000, but we need, because it came in revenues from last year. We didn't spend it, so it should be there to do more of that
Work
type of
with.
work. Okay, that answers my question. Okay,
So you just had a question on the
oh, I got one.
financial statement?
The monthly bill payment for November, it shows this is coming up. That's coming up, and we only had 4 checks that were written, 2 of them to the city for the county services. And the other one was for reimbursement for EDC seminar at Lost Pines. Is there not any other than that one reimbursement check?
Nobody has submitted it.
Okay, all right, and I see on the budget where the cost for the each participant, as well as the hotel bill, is our budget showing, I
Yes.
think it's 4,000 something.
Yes.
Okay, that answers it. Okay. I've asked my 3 questions. I have a motion to accept the consent agenda now.
She's done the city one where you went to that conference, but she has to do the EDC one. So.
Okay.
One of your checks are mailed out on Friday, and there's a second reimbursement that, will be issued this week.
She's talking about my reimbursement. Okay.
So you have 2.
Okay, so this week, okay. I would like to make a motion, to approve the, consent agenda, items 6, 7, and 8.
I got a motion to approve it. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? Are there any further questions about the consent agenda? If not, all those please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Discussion and action items. Item number 9, discuss the mural on the side of the Texan Theater. I believe we have gotten some estimates on that. It's not in our report.
Yes, sir, we're just gonna discuss them because, I have 4 quotes that came in on those. And there's another lady, I believe, Mr. Pennington and Mr. Franklin met with while we were, I think when we went to Bastrop, Lost Pines. Michelle and Miss Carolyn and I met with a lady in Brenham during that time that was painting a mural on the side of the Budweiser distributorship. She's from Waco. She turned in a quote. I contacted, made a phone call to the one that Ms. Franklin met with and called her a couple times, left a message. She hadn't called me back. So anyway, the quotes, and there was one for.
Go ahead and tell the lady you met, Brown, from Waco, go ahead.
I'm going to. The lady that we met in Brenham is from Waco. She does murals throughout the state. But let me go back. I'm going to back up. I'm going to go to the last one. This one, they all got the same measurements of the theater.
So I don't know, tell them what those measurements.
The measurements are like, it's like.
92 feet.
Yes, sir. It's like, it stair steps down, so it goes from like a 15-foot to a 10-foot height, but it's 92 foot long. And most of these people do murals, do them by square footage pricing. There was one, I Full Art, they turned a quote in that is 38,000 to 47,000. That is $27, $30 a square foot. Another gentleman turned one in, Frank Nathan. He was at $35 a square foot, $32,200. There was a young lady from Navasota. She was at $20 a square foot, $12,300. She does murals around College Station and Navasota. She also is a council member there in Navasota. And then there was this lady that we met in Brenham, had lunch with her, looked at her stuff. And she came in a lot less. She was at like $12 a square foot, $11,400. That's what I have.
Basically, they're basing it on just that total whole square footage, right?
Yeah.
It could be the word Cleveland, or it could be.
It'd be like.
It could be a mural like you see on a railroad car going by.
Well,
But they're using the whole square footage, just charters, right?
Yes. In the mural, really, it's not a mural painting with just a bunch of stuff. It's like a postcard. Welcome to Cleveland.
Mr. Franklin, did the lady that you and Bobby met with, did she give y'all a quote?
She had not, she was supposed to do one and would be reported for in council tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So this is an update until we get all of them in and then go from there.
Okay, how long are we gonna discuss this?
How long are we gonna discuss this?
Discuss it, we'll put a budget together.
Till y'all say, hey, I've got them. I mean, when y'all say, hey, it's time we do something.
Well, I think we're gonna have to have a meeting to decide what we
Yeah.
put on, decide what kind of mural we want. Because
Right.
once we get a price and decide on somebody, and then we start adding a bunch of pictures, the price may go up. That's,
Correct, you start with.
I would just like to see things moving forward. What is the board's pleasure?
It's up to the board.
Did we not decide on just putting, welcome to Cleveland? Have we changed from that on the side of the taxi?
In
Or on
my
the top of the
opinion, that's what I think, but I don't know if we voted.
He's done the job.
That's what I think, and then maybe put some pictures inside the letter or something.
I
That's
just
what
know
we
if
did
you
discuss.
get too busy, you drive by.
Then you don't see it, that's right. You can't stop in the middle of the road and look at it, that's.
Do we have photos from all of the people that put bids in that we can look at?
Some of their work,
Or something?
some of what they've done.
I just don't wanna spend an exorbitant amount of money
We
on
put in our budget 30,000 from your, and again, if we can do it for 11,000,
you bet.
fine.
That sounds a lot there.
just think we need to make an appointment for our next meeting, which will be in January,
Yes.
that we have something nailed down.
Maybe we can meet in the middle and talk about it. And look at the pictures.
Yeah, before the meeting,
Before the
yeah,
meeting.
you could do that.
And talk about it.
And you don't wanna pay a lot of money for something that's not gonna look attractive. You wanna make sure it's something that you want, and that's gonna be presentable.
This is just a discussion item, so there's no action need to be taken, but,
I want to make one
anybody
comment.
else, go ahead.
I'll make one comment. I do know the lady that Michelle and Carolyn and I met with. She was painting 40 foot in the air
She was.
on
No
the big,
problem.
and no problem, and
She did.
done a fantastic job. And
She's not afraid.
Mhm. And what was her quote?
11,000.
Different.
And she had already, she showed us pictures of things she wanted to do that were similar to what we're talking about, so.
If she wants to see.
Now, just personally, this is my opinion, I'll go with whatever the board decides, but I've always liked the logo we have on our shirts, that James has got on it. It's the big C, the star, and the word Cleveland. I like that, and something simple like that. Now, if you, because it's so long, 92 feet, if there's something on the end, you don't want to say, little addition to our city, like this is known as the forestry. It's something to do with the forestry. Anyway, that's just something everybody have their own opinion, but I think we need to meet and decide on what we want to do, and then this lady will stay with her quote, then next meeting we can vote on it. Any other comments? We move to item number 10, discuss and take action on EDC's nomination for replacement for Robert Macy that will be provided City Council. City Council meets tomorrow evening, so we need, and by the way, the laws of the EDC state, committee members are appointed, selected and appointed by the council. Like I've talked with many cities, if you've got a agreement on who you put on it, you work better together. So all we can do is give a suggestion, and the council tomorrow night will have to act on it. So, what is the pleasure of the board for us to do that? Do you want to?
Yeah, I have what do you want, a nomination or?
Well, we've had 4 names turned into us.
Oh, we have?
We've had Clifton Woolridge, Eddie Lowry, James Franklin, and the other gentleman is Zach Miller.
Jerry Miller.
Jerry Miller.
I'd like to add Carrie Ducker to that also.
So when you put more names in, it makes it more difficult. We've got 4 people. If everybody votes on one different, we don't solve anything.
So what were the other names put in?
Pardon?
What were the other names put in?
Well, the last meeting we had, this was discussed. The last EDC meeting we had. And then we decided that we'd table it until January because there's only one more meeting left in the year. But if you want to put Carrie Druggers name on this, we now have 5. Do we want to pass to council 5 names, or 4, or 3, or 2, or 1?
I mean, she's got good finance history. I think she'd be good.
What does the board want to do? Marilyn, what would you like to do? Nominate one or all five?
I nominated Clifton Rivers. Well, we said we was gonna wait till, January, and that's the nomination that I was going with.
Well, we postponed it for last month's meeting, but anyway, this is the meeting that we, whoever that person would be, whoever council selects tomorrow night, would be then called in and be at our January meeting. Carolyn?
I guess I'm confused about this. Are you asking us, for one person or for a list to take to council tomorrow?
Well, basically, I think if we have any input at all, it would be a suggestion, because the rule, they make the choice, they vote on who does it.
Yeah, but it
So-
comes from here.
Not necessarily. If you read the bylaws, it says that councils.
The suggestions come from here.
Sure. And that's
That's
what
what
I
I'm
think, and I think we could do that, but if it comes down to it, council appoints and selects who it is.
That's
But I think it
That's
works
true.
better with the council if we can suggest somebody and they go with that.
So you want us to suggest just one person for them to choose from?
It would make it easier on council if we get, but we can pass all five off to them if our hands are through.
We're not trying to make it easy for them, they vote. Right.
Carolyn,
That's right.
what do you want to do?
Just submit who you want.
Yeah, just
submit
submit the list that,
and let them
that we
vote.
unless there's one person that we're voting.
Well, you got 4 members here, how you gonna want all 5, or just each person pick one? You see what I'm asking?
Well, yeah, but we should all,
Have an input.
should all be able to decide on one.
Okay.
Is that right?
Let's
Is
do
that what you're
let's do
after?
that.
Is that what you're trying
Let's
to
do
do?
that.
Decide?
He wants us to decide on one person instead of sending in
4 or 5 or 6.
So city council doesn't have people to choose from, just who we send. I mean, has
Carolyn,
it
I think you made a comment who you chose, you made a comment who you chose. Carolyn, who did you put on? Who would you want to carry to the council?
Talking to me or Carol?
She's talking, he's talking.
Oh,
Did you not say?
You've already got
it.
yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the one you want.
I should make a mind up. Who
I
you
said
can-
Jerry.
Here it
I
is.
didn't know the other 4 existed yet, so I said Carrie did.
I say James Franklin.
I'm gonna say Clifton Roach. You got 2 for Clifton Roach, and yeah, so you can draw 4 of them. It's out of my hands.
What did you say, Michelle?
Carrie did.
No.
Terry
Who
Duff.
did you ask? Me
So
or-
that's 4. that's-
Michelle, Michelle.
So can't we send those 3 nominations to city council and they decide?
Okay.
So there's 3, Clifford, and Carrie,
Clifton.
Clifton.
Well, I'll change my vote. I'll put in the other one on this. So now the council's got 4 people to just choose from. Any further discussion on item 10?
What did you say, Angela? I'm sorry.
All right,
It's a motion.
I'm asked for a motion
Okay, I make a
to
motion.
put those 4 names on the list and pass on the council.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to, submit Carrie Dudley, James Franklin, and Clifton Rivers to the council for.
And Eddie.
Oh, and Robert, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
Second.
We got a motion, we got a second. Are there any further discussions? Not all those approved, raise your right hand. Next and last item on our agenda, please, last one. Discussion of 2022 Allies Day event. We've had a committee that's met, let's see, Brownie, you were there, Carolyn, Robert, myself, and I guess just, Robert, you want to recap what we basically discussed?
We were talking about, who our speakers would be, and we're still, I guess, we still haven't made a decision. I know BNSF will be a speaker. Need to talk to Sharp International to see if they'd be willing to speak. Quick Trip, and then we also talking about still possible maybe bringing in a keynote speaker. We talked about the bus tour. We talked about using Cleveland ISD buses instead of chartering the bus. So bringing one of those in. Sent Mr. Carter a letter requesting the buses from Cleveland ISD. So that would go before the board, and I guess they're having a meeting tonight. I guess they'll discuss that. He said he didn't see a problem with it. We talked about the date. The date is set for March the 9th, 8:30 to 12 o'clock, I believe. That was the time.
It started at 8:30, I didn't have
Yes,
it.
and then Whataburger is going to sponsor our continental breakfast. Energy is going to sponsor our lunch, and also to the VP, Vice President of Energy, they will be a speaker during our lunch time. We talked about doing a drone, which we've talked about a drone with the city, and I'm gonna bring that up. We talked about, and I've met with Jeremy Allen with Texas Emergency Hospital and the gentleman that does their drone footage, and he said they would partner with us as long as we put the hospital in the footage. That would be footage that we would show during the time of the event, and the cost of that was like $5,000. So this is something we still need to discuss, and he would partner with us on that. We'll talk about that at our next meeting as well. And there's a couple of other people that we talked about actually here before. We discussed about a drone. And there was a Brandon Jones, a Winston McDonald. Jennifer got somebody to do during the flood, I believe, of footage. And then Patrick mentioned someone about they did a drone footage at the church. So we're still talking about drone footage for that. Can y'all think of anything else that?
Yeah, I want to speak on the drone. I called Chief Broussard because I was thinking, who could use a drone better than the police department when you're looking for a lost child or somebody else? So I asked him if they had one. He said, no, we have a few that some of our guys personally have one. But he gave me a man's name. His name is Sean Mitchell. He's in Liberty, and he actually is part of the sheriff's department. He does a class that you go to, you pass, and you get your license for operating a drone. Also helps you get your FFA license. This is a 2-day class, and it's $150. If you fail the test, you got to pay $150 to take it again. He has agreed he would be willing to come over and give a demonstration of what he's got. I asked him what approximate costs or something we would need. He said the one they've got is got night vision, and probably some other things that the police department might need. As far as us, he said, I think between around $2,000. So I said between $2,000 and $4,000, we should be able to get a drone, and then maybe we can get somebody, this city employee, trained for that, and then we would have it forever. You're talking about a $5,000 cost, even though the hospital's paying for half of it.
Right.
I think the city needs it, and I think the police department can use it. We could use it at the hour of the day. I just think that's the direction we're in. Not that we can do it. We do it by March, fine. We can't put it in our plan for the next year. Any other comments on Highlands Bank?
Well, I'll make one more comment. We're having another meeting in January the 11th. The committee is coming back together to discuss Highlight Day again, so,
What time?
2 o'clock.
You said the 11th?
Yes, sir.
Any other comments on Highlands Bank? Any other board member? Marilyn, anything else? Or Dr. Betty, this year? Carolyn?
No.
Michelle?
No.
Angela?
I just want to remind everybody that our council meeting tomorrow is at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, not at 6. It's at 3 p.m.
Nothing further else, ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
You have a motion and a second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye.